Optional is a crucial decision and it is the deciding factor. The optional subject is for 500 marks. By analyzing previous results, you can find out that generally toppers are scoring 300 to 350 marks in optional. The choice of optional depends upon the availability of study material, your interest, and the confidence in the subject. The scoring pattern of the subject, guidance, your subject in graduation or post-graduation, and coaching available. So in this video, I will discuss points which are important in deciding optional. I have divided this video in 3 specific parts. In each part, I will discuss a significant query. Firstly, I will discuss 7 steps to consider while choosing optional. Second, if there is confusion between two optional, how to proceed and decide an optional. Finally, the third one, how to find book list and the perfect strategy for particular optional. If you are interested in a specific part and if you want to save some time, you can use timestamps given in the description. But if you are a beginner, watch this video from start to end for maximum benefit, as I am discussing important points earlier in the video. So let us begin with the 7 points. First, make sure that you are not guided by others. While deciding the optional, make sure that you are not guided much by others and you like that subject. You are naturally inclined towards the subject. Since you are going to study that subject for a year and this subject is going to be your deciding factor in the UPSC Civil Services examination. I know by advising you, I am breaking rule number 1 itself. Still, I hope you got the message. This is your own decision and do not ask others to make this decision for you. For example, when you go to coaching classes, they may impose some optional on you just because of their interest. This might happen to you, so do what works for you and suits you the most. Second, as I discussed in the point 1, know your inclinations. For example, naturally, I tend to like history, geography, international relations, but you will be having different likings. So make sure that you are naturally inclined towards the subject and you like that subject. Since you are going to study that subject for a year and as discussed earlier, this subject is going to be your deciding factor. Point 3. Analyze previous year's questions before deciding optional. Read the questions and ask yourself one question. Can I score more than 300 or 325 marks in this subject? If your answer is yes, then you can opt for that optional. Along with previous year's question papers, the syllabus of particular optional can help too. Now let us move to the point 4. Do not change optional in between. Some aspirants try an optional and then change it after an unsuccessful attempt. This is like starting the race again. So the most important thing is not to change optional in between. Take your time in deciding the optional and do not rush while making this decision. Once you decided, stick to it. Though there are few aspirants who have changed their optional after an unsuccessful attempt and they have successfully cracked the UPSC in subsequent attempts. Now, a few not mandatory but important tips will follow. If there is overlap with GS, that is General Studies subject, it is great. It will save your time. For example, political science and international relations, geography, history, public administration. This subject has maximum overlap with General Studies mains syllabus. But remember that this step is not mandatory. You are being warned. Overlap with GS should not be the whole and sole reason for deciding optional. Make sure that you are already gone through the first 4 steps. The first 4 steps are very important and the steps that will follow are not that much important. Point number 6. Make sure that if you are deciding optional, then for that optional you are getting optimum guidance. Make sure that there is availability of resources, coaching, books, notes, guidance and so on. If you can afford to go for coaching, go. If you cannot afford to go for classes, go for class notes and read respective subject books. There is always a way out. So make sure that if you are deciding optional, you are getting assistance in that optional. Point number 7. You can also opt for your graduation or post-graduation subject. It totally depends on your comfort level, and this step is not so important compared to the first 3 to 4 steps as discussed earlier. Many professionals like engineers and doctors don't choose their own optional but go for social sciences subjects. Such people have topped the exam also. I mentioned this point only because if you are choosing your graduation or post-graduation subject as an optional, you will get a head start. Number 8. This is the bonus tip. One thing that is often talked among aspirants is a trend. I don't know how this trend goes or changes. But as far as I know, in 2013-14, public administration was famous among aspirants. Then the geography. It was replaced by political science and international relations, which was then displaced by literature and then anthropology. Nowadays, I can observe from queries and comments that most aspirants are interested in sociology because of recent results. Though personally, I feel one should not follow the trend, but at the end of the day, it is your own decision. Now I want you to do one thing. I want you to write your optional subject in comment section below. Now this is the second part. Here I will discuss the steps while deciding the optional. Step number 1. Decide, do you want to opt for technical or graduation subject as optional, or you are interested in a humanities subject. If it is a graduation subject, your problem is solved. Though if you are confused with which particular humanities subject you should go, then follow the step number 2. If you are going for humanities subject and you are confused which subject will be your optional, then you can do one thing. Read all relevant NCERTs and find out your interest and inclination. You will find out yourself which subject you enjoyed reading, so you can narrow down your choices. After step 2, you must be left with 2 or 3 subjects. Then do one thing. Analyze previous year's questions before deciding optional. As said earlier, read the questions and ask yourself one question. Can I score more than 300 or 325 marks in this subject? If your answer is yes, then you can opt for that subject. Finally, if you need any help regarding the strategy, book list, or plan of a particular optional subject, do this final thing. Head on to Google, type topper strategy with XYZ optional. You will get n number of results. Go through 3 to 4 strategies. Adopt point which you like, discard the points which are irrelevant, and devise a plan which is most suitable to you. So this is all from this video. If I have left some point, I will post them on community tab. To get notifications of community tab, make sure that you have hit the bell icon.